The Atlanta City Council approves legislation to create the Buckhead Public Safety Task Force. The group will include 18 members and work to enhance safety in Buckhead. The council approved legislation honoring the University of Georgia's football team, the university, and Bulldog fans on their successful 2021 season and national championship. The council greenlights a resolution requesting the city's chief operating officer and the Atlanta Department of Transportation present an account and reconciliation against the project list of completed and planned infrastructure bond and transportation special purpose local option sales tax T-SPLOST projects at the Transportation Committee meeting February 16, 2022. The council says yes to an ordinance to suspend provisions of the city's Code of Ordinances to waive the late filing fees, penalties, and sanctions that may be assessed for failure to renew licenses for the sale of alcohol through February 28th of 2022. For more recently approved legislation, please visit our website, citycouncil.atlantagA.gov. This has been your Atlanta City Council Legislative Minute.
Until the bright day of justice emerges. Free at last, thank God Almighty, we are free at last.
In November of 1957, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. preached these transformative words during a sermon at the Dexter Avenue Baptist Church in Montgomery, Alabama. It was entitled, "Loving Your Enemies." Within the best of us, there is some evil. Within the worst of us, there is some good. When we come to see this, we take a different attitude towards individuals. The person who hates you the most has some good in him. Even the nation that hates you the most has some good in it. Even the race that hates you the most has some good in it. And when you come to the point that you look in the face of every man and see deep down within him what religion calls the image of God, you begin to love him in spite of. No matter what he does, you see God's image there. There is an element of goodness that he can never slough off. Discover the element of good in your enemy. And as you seek to hate him, find the center of goodness and place your attention there, and you will take a new attitude. We recognize and honor the life and legacy of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.
Until the bright day of justice emerges. Free at last, thank God Almighty, we are free at last. Until the bright day of justice emerges. Free at last, thank God Almighty, we are free at last.
Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. shared these words during his Nobel Peace Prize acceptance speech in Oslo, Norway, back in 1964. I ask, why is this prize awarded to a movement which is beleaguered and committed to an unrelenting struggle, to a movement which has not won the very peace and brotherhood which is the essence of the Nobel Prize? After contemplation, I concluded that this award, which I receive on behalf of the movement, is a profound recognition that nonviolence is the answer to the critical, political, and moral question of our time, the need for man to overcome oppression and violence without resulting to violence and oppression. We recognize and honor the life and legacy of former District 3 resident Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.
Until the bright day of justice emerges. Free at last, thank God Almighty, we are free at last. Until the bright day of justice emerges. Free at last, thank God Almighty, we are free at last.
Dr. Martin Luther King shared these powerful words during his Give Us the Ballot address at the prayer pilgrimage for freedom in May of 1957. Give us the ballot and we will no longer have to worry the federal government about our basic rights. Give us the ballot, and we will no longer plead to the federal government for passage of an anti-lynching law. We will, by the power of our vote, write the law on the statute books of the South and bring an end to the dastardly acts of the hooded perpetrators of violence. Give us the ballot, and we will transform the salient misdeeds of bloodthirsty mobs into the calculated good deeds of orderly citizens. We recognize and honor the life and legacy of Dr. Martin Luther King, Jr.
Until the bright days of justice emerges. Free at last, thank God Almighty, we are free at last. Until the bright days of justice emerges. Free at last, thank God Almighty, we are free at last.
Dr. Martin Luther King delivered these words during his Beyond Vietnam speech in New York City back in April of 1967. We still have a choice today: nonviolent coexistence or violent co-annihilation. We must move past indecision to action. We must find new ways to speak for peace in Vietnam and justice throughout the developing world, a world that borders on our doors. If we do not act, we shall surely be dragged down the long, dark, and shameful corridors of time reserved for those who possess power without compassion, might without morality, and strength without sight. Now let us begin. Now let us rededicate ourselves to the long and bitter but beautiful struggle for a new world. This is the calling of the sons of God, and our brothers wait eagerly for our response. We recognize and honor the life and legacy of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.
Until the bright days of justice emerges. Free at last, thank God Almighty, we are free at last. Until the bright days of justice emerges. Free at last, thank God Almighty, we are free at last.
Dr. Martin Luther King shared these words during his I Have a Dream speech in August of 1963. When the architects of our republic wrote the magnificent words of the Constitution and the Declaration of Independence, they were signing a promissory note to which every American was to fall heir. This note was a promise that all men would be guaranteed the inalienable rights of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. It is obvious today that America has defaulted on this promissory note insofar as her citizens of color are concerned. Instead of honoring this sacred obligation, America has given the Negro people a bad check, which has come back marked insufficient funds. But we refuse to believe that the Bank of Justice is bankrupt. We refuse to believe that there are insufficient funds in the great vaults of opportunity of this nation. So we have come to cash this check, a check that will give us, upon demand, the riches of freedom and the security of justice. We have also come to this hallowed spot to remind America of the fierce urgency of now. We recognize and honor the life and legacy of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.
Until the bright days of justice emerges. Free at last, thank God Almighty, we are free at last.
morning. One moment, please.
Good morning.
Good morning, Madam Chair.
Oh, okay. So I guess we can start with roll call. Is everyone all checked in? I'm still having trouble bringing my computer up. So good morning, everyone. I am Marcy Collier Overstreet, your chair for Zoning Committee, and I want to welcome everyone who has joined us this morning to the Zoning Committee. I am working on getting connectivity now. And in the meantime, Ms. Lindo, could you please do the roll call?
Yes, Madam Chair. We have Councilmember Matt Westmoreland. Councilmember Mary Norwood. Hello?
I'm still here. Did you hear Ms. Councilmember Westmoreland or Norwood? Ms. Lindo?
Norwood is here. Norwood is here.
Got you. I think Ms. Lindo went offline. We'll give her a second. Yeah, we'll give her a second.
Good morning, Madam Chair. I was knocked off the call. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. We're still on roll call. Thank you.
Yes, we have. Thank you, Madam Chair. We have Councilmember BYRON D. Amos.
Present.
Councilmember Andrea O. Boone.
Present.
Councilmember Amir Faroki.
Here.
Councilmember Mary Norwood.
Mary Norwood is here.
Councilmember Matt Westmoreland.
Here. You can hear me.
Yep. Councilmember Howard Shook. Madam Chair, we do have a quorum of members present.
Thank you. I appreciate the roll call, and thanks everyone for being here again. So, Ms. Lindo, now we're ready to read our remote meeting statement. Can you do that for us, please?
Yes, Madam Chair. Good morning. Today's Zoning Committee meeting will be conducted remotely as advertised and in accordance with Georgia Code Section 50-14-1. The meeting will be conducted in conformance with Robert Rules of Order and the Rules of Council as authorized by the City Code. The public may access the meeting conference bridge toll-free by dialing 404-902-5066 and entering conference ID number 151945. This information was also provided on the Friday, January 21st, 2022 public meeting notice. The public may also view the meeting on Channel 26, the Council's homepage at citycouncil.atlanta.ga.gov, Facebook and Twitter pages at ATL Council, and the Council's YouTube channel. Today's meeting agenda was also published and made available on Friday, January 21st via the city's website at atlantacitygA.iqm2.com. In addition, the public was able to submit comments unrelated to zoning items that have or will go before the Zoning Review Board via voicemail at 404-330-6035 yesterday between the hours of 4 and 7 p.m. These comments will be played during the public comment portion of this meeting. All persons present on the remote council meeting conference bridge are requested to please mute your phones and speakers. Meeting participants wishing to speak must be acknowledged by the committee chair. Thank you all in advance for your cooperation.
Thank you for that. And now we'll move on to adopting the agenda. Is there a motion to adopt the agenda? And I need a second. Thank you. Is there a second? Okay, motion by Westmoreland, second by Amos. Please prepare the vote.
The vote is open, Madam Chair.
My screen is still not showing, so if you don't mind calling that for me.
Councilmember Westmoreland?
In favor.
Councilmember Mary Norwood?
In favor.
Councilmember Faroki?
In favor.
Councilmember Boone?
Yes.
Councilmember Overstreet?
Affirmative.
That's 6 yeas, 0 nays. The meeting agenda has been approved.
I appreciate that. So if I am hearing correctly, no one is on the system at this time. Is that right?
Boone is. Boone is on the system.
Okay.
Faroki is.
And Faroki also? Okay. All right.
And Amos is.
You are too?
Yes.
So hopefully my computer will catch up. Right now it's loading very slowly. I'm on the city's Wi-Fi, and I'm at 32%, so almost. And we'll move on now to the yes.
And Madam Chair, I've been trying to get on for 30 minutes. I was on last week, same place, but it's not doing today. So I'll need to do voice vote.
Until, okay, and me as well. So thank you, Councilmember Norwood. We'll move on to adopting the minutes, the approval of the minutes. Is there a motion to approve? Well, I approve. Well, can I motion to approve the minutes, Ms. Lindo?
Yes, Madam Chair.
I motion to approve the minutes. Is there a second?
Second, Amos.
Okay, approved by myself. Second by Amos. Please prepare the vote.
The vote is open, Madam Chair. Mr. Westmoreland?
In favor.
Ms. Norwood?
In favor.
Mr. Faroki?
In favor.
Ms. Boone?
Yes.
One moment. The vote is closed. One moment. That's 6 yeas, 0 nays. The meeting minutes have been approved.
Thank you. And now we'll move on down to the 2022 Zoning Committee goals and objectives. Has everyone that wants to submit goals and objectives had a chance to submit them? Anyone wishing to add to it? Okay. Seeing that everyone that wants to submit is already submitted, I don't have that list before me right now. So what I'll do is I'll compile what we have, and I'll have that for our next zoning meeting. So we will finalize our goals and objectives at our next zoning meeting. And now we'll move on to public comment. Could you please play the public comment?
Yes, Madam Chair. One moment.
Greetings, zoning committee, council members, and staff. A special greetings to you citizens and voters of Atlanta, keeping an eye on government. Ben Howard, senior advocate, public policy analyst. An item is so replete in flaws in content and process that the process for that item needs to be discontinued and started over from scratch. Problem number one, item Z-21-315 was placed on the agenda of the January Neighborhood Planning Unit meeting as a matter for review and comment. The matter is of such great import to the community that it should have been placed on the agenda as a matter for voting instead of simply for review and comment. Problem number two, Burnett L. Scott is listed as representing Neighborhood Planning Unit R against the City Zoning Department. Burnett L. Scott is no longer the chair of the Neighborhood Planning Unit R Zoning and Land Use Committee and has been given no official right to represent anything in the name of Neighborhood Planning Unit R. Problem number three, the email address associated with her name, npur.exp@gmail.com, belongs to the officers of Neighborhood Planning Unit R, not to Annette L. Scott. Problem number four, there are no minutes or any other documents showing that the Neighborhood Planning Unit R membership has voted to contest the ruling on record by the zoning division of the City of Atlanta Planning Department. Problem number five, the published notice fails to provide the name of the planner who authorized the issuance of the permit on October 27, 2021. So who will correct these problems related to B-21-315 and how and when?
My name is Renette L. Scott, Southwest Canopy Neighborhood Association. My neighborhood is within NPUR. I'm asking the zoning committee and individual council members not to support the establishment of a service station at 2775 Hamilton Road Southwest because it is within 1,500 feet of another service station, Tires and Things, located at 2661 Hamilton Road, where both falls within the definition of a service station as defined in Chapter 29, Definitions, Code of Ordinance, and must have a distance of 1,500 feet. And for this reason, I ask for your support in not allowing a service station at 2775 Hamilton Road. Respectfully, Renette L. Scott.
I am Brother Anthony Muhammad. I am an old spiritual being, and I call on this committee and its chairman to hear my words. I am very much concerned, as I heard the mayor say, I need to have 20,000 affordable houses. And I would like the new members of this committee to recognize that the person you see living on the street, the person you see living in tents, they're living all over this country. We are not a city too busy to hate when we have council members that are doing the work, change the condition of the constituency that we have here in Atlanta, the capital city of Georgia. I ask that you recognize we have to go into our subconscious and think on the good and then legislation, and our actions to make manifest into the physical. Affordable houses. We have women and children suffering in the city of Atlanta with no affordable housing. We have seniors suffering in Atlanta with no affordable housing. I ask that we have religious institutions, we have public institutions that choose not to collaborate as you are in agreement as city council members, to collaborate for the benefit of your constituents, to make available legislation that is conducive to serve the interests of your constituency. I am a darker hued person, and I know the Caucasian has a heart for good. So let's find a way today to come together in Atlanta for the benefit, to change the condition of the people now that live on the street. Please, hear my word, zoning committee, Brother Anthony Muhammad, Mother Nature, Hope Trap, Assalamu Alaikum. It's the woman, the feminine energy that need to be recognized. We all come from the mother, and the mother of the civilization needs Atlanta County to do for the benefit of his constituents. Affordable housing. Find zoning, please. Thank you.
This is Sherry D. Williams, lead organizer of the Campbellton Road Greenbrier residents who are appealing the building permit for the proposed gas station at 2775 Campbellton Road, directly across the street from Mount Carmel Baptist Church, because it violates the 1,500-foot rule. This case is simple, Chairwoman Overstreet. In 2018, 23 of the 25 MPUs voted in favor of this legislation. All 6 of your MPUs in District 11 voted for this legislation. The full city council voted unanimously and passed this 1,500-foot legislation in 2019. It's Section 16-34.005. Madam Chair, your District 11 is where 2775 Campbellton Road is located. You and all of the city council people who were reelected, Bond, Boone, Baroki, Hillis, Shook, Westmoreland, and our newly elected Mayor Dickens, all voted for this important legislation that is designed to help neighborhoods, especially underserved ones, with several gas stations on almost every corner. It's designed to put an end to this type of development in favor of more diverse, economically needed, and environmentally friendly businesses. Now the talk is all density. You don't increase density with gas stations. You do it with transit stations. That is why this corner, Campbellton and Harbin, is designated as a MARTA light rail transit station stop. And our community fought with Georgia's Stand Up and won funding of this much-needed MARTA project. This illegally issued permit jeopardizes this and is counter to the oath that all of you just took to represent your constituents and uphold the law. What is Planning Commissioner King saying about this growth era? Let's fix this flawed process so it won't happen again. You know, there is no need for the BZA hearing that's scheduled for February 4th at 12 noon, because the law has clearly been broken with the issuance of this permit. So revoke it now. By allowing this growth area to stand is unlawful. Will this new zoning committee uphold the law? I hope so. I look forward to hearing from you and working with all city on these equity-related projects that improve the quality of life for underserved and disenfranchised communities as we work toward one Atlanta and the Martin Luther King Jr. dream of equity and economic justice.
I am Brother Anthony Muhammad. I am a soulful spiritual being, and I call on this committee, BOONE, and its chairman to hear my words. I I am very much concerned, as I heard the mayor say, I need to have 20,000 affordable houses. And I would like for you, members of this committee, to recognize that the person you see living on the street, the person you see living in tents, they're living all over this country. We are not a city too busy to hate when we have council members that are doing the work, change the conditions of the constituency that we have here in Atlanta, the capital city of Georgia. I ask that you recognize we have to go into our subconscious and think on the good and then act with our legislation and our actions to make manifest into the physical. Affordable houses. We have women and children suffering in the city of Atlanta with no affordable housing. We have seniors suffering in Atlanta with no affordable housing. I ask that we have religious institutions, we have public institutions that choose not to collaborate as you are in agreement as city council members to collaborate for the benefit of your constituents to make available legislation that is conducive to serve the interests of your constituency. I am a darker hue person, and I know the Caucasian has a heart for good. So let's find a way today to come together in Atlanta for the benefit to change the condition of the people now that live on the street. Please hear my word, zoning committee, Brother Anthony Muhammad, Nature Culture, Assalamu Alaikum. It's the woman, it's the energy that need to be recognized. All come from the mother. And the mother of the civilization need Atlanta County to do for the benefit of this constituent. Affordable housing. Find zoning, please. Thank you.
My name is Renette L. Scott, Southwest Canopy Neighborhood Association. My neighborhood is within NPUR. I'm asking the zoning committee and individual council members not to support the establishment of a service station at 2775 Hamilton Road Southwest because it is within 1,500 feet of another service station, Tires and Things, located at 2661 Hamilton Road, where both falls within the definition of a service station as defined in Chapter 29, Definitions, Code of Ordinance, and must have a distance of 1,500 feet. And for this reason, I ask for your support in not allowing a service station at 2775 Hamilton Road. Respectfully, Renette L. Scott. That concludes the public comments, Madam Chair.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate that. Just quickly before we move on, the 2775 Campbellton Road is in District 11. It is not on our agenda today, just so everyone knows that that's the whole purpose of the appeals process. There will be going before that process February the 4th, and City Council did not have any votes or say on that particular parcel or legislation. However, we did submit letters in opposition of another gas station on Campbellton Road, and that was submitted last week for the appeals process. And we also made sure that everything has been documented properly, and I've had several meetings with city planning about that parcel. The
Hamilton Road has a long overdue overlay now. So we hope that we won't have these kind of discussions going forward, because we can all agree that Hamilton Road does not need a gas station. So moving on to our ordinances for first read. So Ms. Holmes, if you can sound that first item in, please.
Good morning, Council Member. We have a communication. That item is item number 122C5014, a communication from Council Members LILIANA BAKHTIARI, Alex Swan, and Matt Westmoreland, appointing Mr. Jack Pyburn to serve as a member of the Zoning Review Board. This appointment is for a term of 2 years.
Okay, so do we have Mr. Pyburn on the phone now to speak?
Yes, you do. I'm here.
Oh, thank you very much. Good morning. Thank you for joining us today.
Good morning.
Would love for you to give us just a few words about why you'd like to serve, and just anything about yourself you'd like us to know. We have it before us. We'd love to hear from you.
Well, I have a career that has included being a planner for a decade. I graduated from college and spent my first decade as a planner in St. Louis, working both in neighborhoods and as a staff under contract to small municipalities. And I moved to Atlanta in '81 to be a principal in the firm of EDOL, which is still, I guess, a part of AECOM now, but was a young firm in Atlanta at the time, now an international firm. Had the pleasure of working with Leon Epplin over the years, working together on planning assignments. I gravitated back to the architecture. I trained, obviously, as an architect in graduate in college, but I gravitated back to architecture and migrated to historic preservation. Had my own firm here in Atlanta for 25 years, and then joined my practice with Lord X Sargent in 2007 as a principal in the preservation studio. My current work is primarily working on the restoration of civil rights sites in Birmingham and Atlanta, and my interest in doing and participating in the zoning review board is that it's one of a professional interest of mine over time. It's one that I haven't been as directly involved with in the last number of years, and am interested in contributing what knowledge and experience I have. I'm very interested in the future of the city from a planning standpoint, and the quality of life we have here. And zoning is clearly an important part of that. So I appreciate the consideration. Happy to answer any questions you have about my experience or my interests.
Okay, thank you for that. Did you mention where you actually live now? Do you live in the city of Atlanta?
I do. I live in Midtown in Hanover House condominiums. I've lived here for 25 years in either Colony House or Hanover House.
Okay, so I appreciate you joining our call today. We will contact you once the entire process is complete. There will be no reason or it won't be necessary for you to show back up to speak with us again about this. Any council members have a question for Mr. Pyburn?
Do we need to vote, Chairwoman Overstreet?
I don't have that on here, but I was definitely going to make a motion to approve. But Ms. Holmes, do we vote on that today? Since it's a communication, do we vote on that today?
Ms. Lindo?
Ms. Lindo? That's not on my notes, but...
Madam Chair, yes, we do vote on. I'm sorry, I was on mute. Yes.
Okay, so we vote today. So does any other council member have any questions?
I'll second your motion, Ms. Overstreet.
Thank you, Mr. Westmoreland. Okay, so moved by Overstreet, second by Westmoreland. Please prepare the vote.
The vote is open.
Councilmember Amos, how do you vote?
Yay, and affirmative.
Okay.
The vote is closed. That should be 7 yeas, 0 nays. That item is favorable.
Well, thank you. Mr. Pyburn, this will go to our full council on February 7th, and we will look to you serving to see you serve in the near future.
Thank you very much for the opportunity. I appreciate it.
Okay.
Madam Chair, I apologize. Staff has informed us that Mr. Shook has joined the call.
Oh, great. Mr. Shook, thank you for joining today. I did see that you voted on our last appointment of Mr. Pyburn to the Zoning Review Board. So thank you for joining.
Late but in earnest. Thank you.
Absolutely. Now we'll move on down to ordinances for first read. And we have 5 ordinances for first read. And these will be sounded in actually at our next full council meeting, also on February the 7th, and referred at that time. So it's no action needed there. We're moving on now to our ordinances for second read. And we can take items 7, 8, and 9 as a block. So, Ms. Holmes, can you please sound these in?
Certainly. Item number 7, 2201-003, D21-101, an ordinance by Councilmember Amir Faroqi to rezone to heavy industrial to industrial mixed use of properties located at 515 Whitehall Street Southwest. Staff, MPU, and DRB recommendation approval. Item number 8, 2201-012, D21-111. An ordinance by Councilmember Amir Faroqi to rezone property from light industrial to mixed residential commercial for properties located at 965, 971, 973, and 975 Howell Road, and 956 3rd Street, and 950 and 968 MH Avenue. Staff recommendation, NP recommendation, DRB recommendation approval. And item number 9, 2201-013, Z21-109. An ordinance by Councilmember Amir Faroqi to rezone from light industrial beltline overlay to multifamily residential beltline overlay for property located at 674 Drury Street Northwest. Staff recommendation approval, ZRB recommendation approval, MP recommendation, no recommendation.
Oh, I was muted. Thank you for sounding those in. I move approval for all of them. That's the motion, is to approve. Can I get a second?
Second, Boone.
Thank you, Boone. Councilmember Boone. Please prepare the vote.
The vote is open, Madam Chair.
Okay. Councilmember Westmoreland, how do you vote?
In favor.
The vote is closed. That's 7 yeas, 0 nays. Those items are favorable.
Madam Chair, if I could take items number 10 and 11 together.
Yes, please. You can do that.
Item number 10, 2201-057, an ordinance by zoning committee to rezone from single-family residential to multifamily residential for property located at 257 Oak Cliff Road Northwest. And item number 11, 2201-058, D2193, an ordinance by zoning committee to rezone from single-family residential to Westview Neighborhood Commercial District. A recommendation is to hold.
Okay. Does anyone want to motion to hold?
Boone will hold. Norwood will second. Norwood will second in the House.
Okay. Boone is the mover. Norwood's the second. Please prepare the vote. The hold.
Vote is open, Madam Chair.
Mr. Westmoreland, how do you vote?
I will vote to hold as well.
Okay.
The vote is closed. That's 7 yeas, 0 nays. Those items will be held.
Madam Chair, I'm listening. Go ahead.
Yes, ma'am. If I could take items 12 and 14 and 16 through 21 together.
Sure. Please.
Item number 12, 2201-004, U2126, an ordinance by Councilmember Amir R. Faroqi, as amended by Zoning Committee for a special use permit for outdoor sales area pursuant to 1618A006 for property located at 168 Lucky Street Northwest. Staff recommendation, approval conditional. NPU recommendation, approval. ZRB recommendation, approval. Item number 14, 2201-006, Z21107, an ordinance by Councilmember Amir R. Faroqi as amended by Zoning Committee to rezone from single-family residential Oakland City Historic District Beltline Overlay to multifamily residential Oakland City Historic District Beltline Overlay for property located at 1024 Rear, 1010, and 1016 Donnelly Avenue, and 960 Lawton Street. Staff recommendation, NP recommendation, ZRB recommendation, approval. Item number 16 is 2201-008, Z2192, an ordinance by Councilmember Amir R. Faroqi as amended by Zoning Committee to rezone from heavy industrial to mixed residential commercial for property located at 681 Whitehall Street. Staff recommendation, NPU recommendation, ZRB recommendation, approval. Item number 17, 2201-009, Z21102, an ordinance by Councilmember Amir R. Faroqi as amended by Zoning Committee to rezone from two-family residential Beltline Overlay to mixed residential commercial conditional Beltline Overlay for property located at 495 and 495 North Avenue Rear. Staff recommendation, approval. NPU and ZRB recommendation, approval conditional. Item number 18, 220110, Z21103, an ordinance by Councilmember Amir R. Faroqi as amended by Zoning Committee to rezone from single-family residential to single-family residential conditional for property located at 731 North Evelyn Place. Staff recommendation and ZRB recommendation, approval conditional. NP recommendation, approval. Item number 19, 220111, U2131, an ordinance by Councilmember Amir R. Faroqi as amended by Zoning Committee for a special use permit for non-residential uses or establishments exceeding 7,500 square feet pursuant to 1640-003-4A for property located at 1000 Marietta Street. Staff and GRB recommendation, approval conditional. NPU recommendation, approval. Item number 20, 22011014, Z2194, an ordinance by Councilmember Amir R. Faroqi as amended by Zoning Committee to rezone from single-family residential to single-family residential conditional for property located at 1361 DeSoto Avenue Southwest. Staff and GRB recommendation, approval conditional. NPU recommendation, approval. And item number 21, 22011015, Z2186, an ordinance by Councilmember Amir R. Faroqi as amended by Zoning Committee to rezone from residential general sector 3 to multifamily residential conditional for property located at 1074 and 1114 West Shard Place Northwest. Staff recommendation, approval. NPU recommendation and ZRB recommendation, approval conditional.
Okay. So I would like to motion to approve as amended by ZRB all of those items. Is there a second?
Second, Norwood.
Motion by Overstreet, second by Norwood. Please prepare the vote.
The vote is open, Madam Chair.
Councilmember Westmoreland, how do you vote?
In favor.
Okay.
One moment. The vote is closed. It's 7 yeas, 0 nays. Those items are favorable as amended.
Okay, now we go back to number 13. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am. Item number 13, 2201-005, Z21106, an ordinance by Councilmember Amir R. Faroqi as amended by Zoning Committee to rezone from single-family residential to community business district conditional for property located at 3434 Cascade Road Southwest. Staff and ZRB recommendation is approval conditional. NPU recommendation is approval. And the purpose of the amendment is to attach the conditions and update the legal description.
Okay, so I'm moved to amend. Is there a second?
Second.
Move to amend by Overstreet, second by Westmoreland. Please prepare the vote.
The vote is open, Madam Chair. The vote is closed. That's 7 yeas, 0 nays. That item's been amended.
Okay, so with that amendment, now I move to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Do we have to do that, though?
Yes, Madam Chair. This particular one is being amended by the committee.
Okay, absolutely. All right, so a motion by Overstreet, second by Westmoreland, and waiting for Councilmembers Faruqi and Amos. How do you all vote? Faruqi?
Sorry, I just voted on mine. Yes. Yeah.
Thank you.
The vote is closed, Madam Chair. That's 7 yeas, 0 nays. That item is favorable as amended.
Okay. And so now we are moving on to
item number 15. Item number 15. Yes, ma'am. Item number 15, 220107, Z21108, an ordinance by Councilmember Amir Al-Farouki as amended by Zoning Committee to rezone from two-family residential conditional to two-family residential conditional for a change of conditions for property located at 879 Cruz Street. Staff recommendation and ZRB recommendation approval conditional. NPU recommendation denial, and the request is to hold this item.
Okay, and I move to hold. Is there a second?
Second.
Second. Oh, who was that? Who was the second?
Norwood.
Okay. Motion by Overstreet, second by Norwood. Please prepare the vote.
The vote is open, Madam Chair.
Councilmember Westmoreland, how do you vote?
In favor.
Councilmember Boone? Councilmember Amos?
Vote in favor.
Thank you.
The vote is closed. That's 7 yeas, 0 nays. That item will be held.
Thank you. And that brings us to the end of our agenda. Council members, is there anything that you would like to speak about? Anyone? Anything? Before we go? Before we adjourn? Okay, we have no walk-in legislation. Don't forget that we are finalizing our goals and objectives, and that will be presented at our next zoning committee. And thank everyone for coming today. We had a full complement of 7 council members. Thank you very much. And I will see everyone next time. Motion to adjourn.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Great meeting.